our breakout session for today is none other than Tiiu Napp. The topic, your journey to freedom begins within. Self-empowering and transformational coach Tiiu Napp is an author, speaker, empowering transformational coach, entrepreneur, and domestic violence survivor. Her greatest achievement is her spiritual growth. Tiiu is committed to helping others begin their journey of freedom. Healing the Holes in Your Soul is her first book, and she shares her message of finding self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. We look forward to you joining us here at the summit, the We Empower You Summit. Take it away, Tiiu.
Thank you so much, Bettina. I am thrilled to be here, and I'm honored to be on the main stage with so many wonderful guests. And I am proud to also see that Patrick Snow is here. He is my book coach, and I am thrilled that he's here because this book is definitely a product from his wisdom and his guidance. It's a beautiful book. The way it all appears, I'm very proud to have my name on this. It's my story through domestic violence. It's also not only violence, it shares more about how I used other tools, other quotes, people who inspired me to move through what I went through to get to the other side, because the other side is so much more powerful when you find unconditional love. And it starts with that one simple step that I talked about. You know, everything that we've ever needed in our world is actually right here. It's always been there in our soul. I didn't know that though. And so I went through quite the journey to get to here, I'll say. But I'm so honored that Patrick is here, and some of these beautiful people that are staying in this room are also, yeah, everybody is a gift. We are all gifted when we are born with our soul, and it enters our body when we are born. And with that comes all the answers that we ever need in our life. But I didn't know that because I didn't know how to tap into that. So through a journey of domestic violence, which I'll share a little bit with you, but I want to also share with you that Dr. Michael Gross, Patrick led me to Dr. Michael Gross. Dr. Michael Gross started working with me. He's the author of The Spiritual Primer. And he is the reason that I wrote this book. So I'm thrilled that he's also dialed in. And, you know, when you're looking at things in your life and you can look back and you can sit back in the world and go, yeah, life really stunk. And there was a point in my life where I was blaming God. You know, if it's such a beautiful world, how come I'm going through all this garbage? But the bottom line, you know, there's a lot of things that will come in the book that you can all read. But what I wanted to get to was that I survived domestic violence. I moved through it. So I became a victim, a survivor, and a thriver, becoming the manifester of my abundant future. That's huge to be able to know that we all have choices. And when I wrote the book, it became a huge healing journey. And along the way, it also became a journey of self-discovery. I didn't know where I was going. And Michael says to me all the time, if you don't know where you're going, you can't get lost. And I love that quote, because half the time I don't know where I'm going. But a little bit about me, okay, to get the thing going here. I'm a Canadian-born citizen, but my parents come from Estonia. And because of my Estonian heritage, I've learned that I have Viking roots, which parlay into the 15 steps to finding your freedom. And along the way, what I also learned was that everything, like I said, is innately within us. We just didn't know it. And we find out more and more, the more we learn about ourselves. So growing up in the 1950s and 60s, I'm going to date myself a little bit, I was at that moment where mom and dad were teaching us old school. Hey, old school, you're a girl, you don't do certain things, you know, girls can't have certain jobs because those are men's jobs. You know, that's how I was raised, old school. But I was in this 1960s version of peace, love, and rock and roll, and burning your bra and women's rights and whatnot. And all of a sudden it was like the things that mom and dad were teaching me didn't make sense and didn't align with what I was learning from the friends I had in school and what was going on in our world. There was a lot going on. And so I didn't know what to do. And at the age of 18, I said, okay, I graduated. I'm out of here. I'm not going to college. I wanted to be an archaeologist. And Dad says, no, I'm not paying for my daughter to go to college to dig dirt. I'm a farmer. I came from farming roots. So I'm not paying you to go dig dirt. So I thought, okay, fine. Well, then save your money. I'm going to leave. And one day I felt like, okay, this is it. Packed all my valuables into one little backpack. And I was so naive. Honestly, there was still poor planning, because what ended up happening was you don't pack just 3 changes of underwear when you're not coming home again. It doesn't really work that way. But I did that. And I ended up in some really, really interesting places that I will share with you in a minute. But when I'm naive and trusting and feeling 10 feet tall and bulletproof, my goal was to go to Malibu. I'm going to Malibu because everybody back in the early 70s was heading to California. I was going to find myself some surfer guy with big bucks, right? And that was, I thought, what I needed to do. I'm a lot older now, and I haven't made it to Malibu yet. So it's it's kind of a funny deal. But what happened along the way was I learned that it's not anything to do with where you're going or where you've been. It's how you learn how to navigate the ebb and flow of the energies around us. Yeah, everybody has a story. Everyone has a story. And I keep encouraging people to write their story. Contact Patrick, write your own story, because we're all unique and we don't really know. Patrick, one of the things that Patrick told me was, you want to leave, you leave a legacy. There's 2 things you get to leave when you go. It's your children and your art. And if you don't capture your art, whether it's in a book, which is your story, or in your art, because I love photography. So my art is also coming out in that way as well. That if you don't do this stuff when you have that chance, there's no guarantees what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm blessed to also have my friend Doug Mckenzie here. He's an amazing photographer. He's now my new photo coach to teach me how to shoot my Canon camera, because I'm a film girl, but in the day, photography was my shield. I didn't even have the courage back then to say, have a confident conversation with someone and look them eyeball to eyeball. I always thought that I was unworthy, and I would talk to them through my camera, because my camera was my shield. You can navigate anything as long as you've got a camera. You can tell people to go, okay, stand over here. The lighting's so much better. You're going to look great here. Okay. But the bottom line was that was my tool to stay strong, because I was scared to death. Everything I did, I was scared to death. The reason I never made it to Malibu was that I found out what it feels like, not looks like, but what it feels like to stare down the barrel of a loaded gun. Highly don't recommend hitchhiking because I did. And I ended up being a statistic. And I'm not going to go there anymore right now, because certain stories are in the book. And I know that's probably kind of a cliche way to get out of that one. But anyway, what I wanted to say was that through everything that I've done, I've learned and I've grown. And I've become who I am today, not only through the past, but understanding the past, looking at it, not living in it, feeling the lessons, and moving forward. Because as long as you move forward, you can look back and say, oh yeah, I did that. Shouldn't have done that, but I did. And I learned a lesson and I moved forward. I am the manifestor of my beautiful future. And I have to say this because working with Dr. Michael Gross, and this is totally coming, this is not anything scripted, okay? But just the other day, I haven't talked to my daughter in 4 years. 4 years. Haven't seen her, haven't talked to her. And the last thing was a lot of heartache. And on Sunday, I had dinner with her. She came back into my life because I've been constantly sending loving energy through God, the true source, to her. And that was a gift that was totally unexpected. And I'm thrilled. So it's a new beginning. We have, we all, like I said, we all come from somewhere else. But one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that we all need to look at where we're going and who we are. It's not in what other people tell us. It's in here. So I want to ask you this question. Take a couple of minutes right now and ask yourself, how would you describe yourself? Who are you really? And I'll just give you a minute because there's a follow-up question. You're not getting off that easy. Okay, guys. Let me know. Raise your hand when you have your top 5. Ready?
Hi there, Tiiu.
Are you ready? Raise your hands. Perfect. Okay. Here's the thing. If you said, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a photographer, I'm an uncle, I'm a student, that's awesome. However, that's not the answer I'm looking for. Okay. To be completely honest, I answered that very same question with the very same mother, grandmother, and all that. Now, who are you really? Dig deep and pick your top 5. And I'll give you mine. I am passionate. I am adventurous. I have courage to face my fears and walk through that. I am loving and I am empathetic. Are you catching your 5 now? I hope so, because this is where the self-discovery begins. When you start looking at who you really are, okay, and it's not someone else's opinion, it's your own. Ask yourself this question. If I'm so focused on what other people think of me and expect from me, why do I give them that much credit when I know in my soul who I really truly am? All the answers are there, so why do I care what other people think? It's not about them at all. It's about who we choose to be and whether we choose to fall victim to the external influences or into our own soul mission and goal. It took me a very long time to realize that, my soul, I'll just say my soul, my intuition, my gut, totally saved my rear end. Many, many times when my head was being slammed against the window or the wall, I wanted to give up and quit. But my soul I heard that little tiny voice when I was sitting in the corner on the floor somewhere, tears streaming down my face. And I would hear that voice, get up, get up. Come on, get up. This is not your destiny. This is not your destiny. Your children need you. On that note, my children saved my life. There was a time when I had to hide them in the closet because their dad was drunk. And they were 2 and 4. And I wasn't sure that I would be alive to open that closet door and let them back out. But I did. And it wasn't pretty, but I'm still here. And the reason why I'm still here is because I know that I've been protected. I know that there is a power greater than anything else in the world. It's our God, the true source that saved my behind many, many times. On that note, let me ask you this. While you're in there looking around at yourself, how do you look at yourself? Are you confident? Are you judgmental? Are you hard on yourself? Always trying to be better. There's this thing that Michael has taught me. It's a battle between soul and ego. I like to call it the dance, because we all have a soul and we also all have free will. And with free will, sometimes our ego gets in the way. And I didn't even know how to choose the difference. I didn't know. And what I realized was that the soul just doesn't justify anything. It just says, buy the dress. Buy the dress. And ego will say, buy the dress. It's on sale and you're going to look really great in it. See the difference? When you start trusting what you hear in your heart and start ignoring the ego and the free will, your life begins to unfold in an amazing way. It's the most beautiful experience that I've ever had because I start finding out that I'm not alone anymore. I'm really not alone. It hasn't been an easy journey, But the journey that I have been on is the greatest gift because I get to discover myself. I get to unwrap the greatest gift of all, and that's me. My friend Nikki Gullihorn has said, just be who you is. There's three things that I'm going to leave with you, okay? The first one is be who you is. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. What you think of you is the most important. And if you're true to yourself and you are who you are, that's the greatest gift you can have. The next thing is don't listen to everybody else. You know, they all have different things going on in their life, and that's their monkey. You don't need to go and play in their cage. You know, what they do is up to them. You can love them from a distance, support them, and also honor the fact that you might not agree. That's okay too, because we all have different opinions. It doesn't mean we love each other any less. It just means that maybe we don't all agree on the same thing, and that's okay. We're all human, right? The other reason why I wrote my book, there was three things. Oops, I almost forgot one. And this is one that is very, very powerful. And I'm going to use an Augmentino quote here. But proclaim your rarity. And forgive me, but I'm going to read this to make sure that I don't miss anything here. Okay. Augmentino wrote in his book, The Greatest Miracle in the World is you. Never in all the 70 billion humans who have walked upon this planet since the beginning of time has there been anyone exactly like you. Never until the end of time will there ever be anyone exactly like you. Out of the billions of possibilities, the two cells united in a miracle, in a moment of love. Two cells each contain 23 chromosomes, and within each chromosome, hundreds of genes, which would govern every characteristic about you. Your eye color, your hair, the size of your nose, even the size of your toes. Okay, I threw a little bit of that in. But the bottom line is that you are a miracle. There is only one you. And here is the best part. There will never be anyone else just like you, because out of all the combinations of genes and DNA, what was it now? 300,000 billion humans could have been created, each different than you. Yet you're the one that survived. You're the one that was blessed with a soul to carry your message. Your soul mission and goal is to help everyone raise their self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem. And right now, in the way our world is going, we have a lot of negative energy going on in our world. And that's definitely having a massive effect on our planet. And what we need to do is remember who we are, where we come from. We are made of love, and love is the glue that keeps us together. Because as Buddha writes, in the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of the things not meant for you. And I'm adding a little bit to this because we also have to realize we can't hold on to our kids. You have to let them go. And when that happens, and they come back, oh, what an amazing feeling that is. You know, freedom really does begin within. It's that moment in the feeling with the incredible warmth of unconditional love, knowing that that love comes from the right place, from the true source, from God, whatever you call your higher power. When you embrace that feeling of unconditional love, you know, and you can tell yourself, I am worthy. I am filled with self-love, and I have the most utmost self-esteem, because for once in my life, I actually love who I am. I get to be that one Tiiu that nobody really knew because I was always hiding behind a camera. And now what I do with my camera, I capture that moment in time. Those brief seconds that go by when the moon's setting and the sun's rising across the bay, And it's only there for a fleeting moment, and then it's gone. But if the timing is right and I've got all my settings right on my Canon camera, I can capture that moment and create a brand new legacy to leave my art for the rest of the world. So on that note, I'm keeping an eye on the time, okay? Give me just a sec because my phone keeps doing this really weird thing. Okay, we have a few minutes. What I'd like to share with you too is that my book is available on my website, healingtheholesinyoursoul.com. So take a minute, and all the information is on the virtual screen behind me. When you go to the website, you'll also see some of my photographs. And I love the fact that this is all built on the income activator platform that Lee Romanoff was talking about. I've been a member with the We Empower You family since last June, right after COVID hit and we went virtual for the first time. So I'm honored to have that platform. Take a look at my website. It will be getting updated soon, but you'll have a taste of my photography. And now it's simply a way that I can share goodness and joy with everyone else. I don't have to hide behind the camera anymore. And trust me, my nose got a little bit flat because I was always squeezing against the camera, and that doesn't happen anymore. So I'm happy that you're here. I also have a PDF ebook. So if you don't want the hardcover, which is a beautiful book, thank you, Patrick, for guiding me to so much. The people that presented this, absolutely beautiful. You take off the dust jacket and the images are still on the book board. It's cool. I love the whole content. And like I said, there's work. It's a workbook as well. So it becomes your private journal, and I'm not sharing my journal with anyone. So you get your own book. But bottom line, I can also email you a PDF. So all you have to do for that is send me an email, and I'll make sure you get that. And I would also love to offer you a gift. It's my complimentary 30-minute consultation to help you find your first steps and start looking at your journey of self-discovery. Because remember, I do that in person. I can do it on Zoom. I can do it on the phone. But bottom line is that if we're stuck in a life of mediocrity and we feel like something is missing in our world, then maybe it's time for you to start looking within for your answers, because your soul knows what you need. Your soul knows your future. You might not, but your soul knows. I mean, have you ever had I'll just share this real quick. It's a funny story. I was driving to work one day. I used to be a postal worker. I delivered mail on a rural route in Arizona. And my head said, go down this residential road because that way you can bypass all the traffic lights and you can get to work faster. My soul said, no, go down the main road and take traffic lights. I didn't listen to my soul. I listened to my head. And I got in a really ugly accident that led me to surgery. And, touche, I should have gone the other way, but I didn't listen and I didn't trust it. So that was ego kicking in. And now I know that when my soul says go left, I'm going left. I'm not going to turn around and second guess that anymore. So on that note, I'm thrilled and honored to be part of this main stage. I'm thrilled to be here, Bettina. This is the coolest thing. And I want to leave you with one little note and open it up for questions if you have any. Your journey of freedom truly does begin within. And like I said before, all the answers to your burning questions are right there. Sadly, what happens is the world around us is so loud and chaotic that sometimes we can't hear our own inner voice. And I now know how to pay attention to that. And I would love to share that with you as well. All those answers have always been there. And I'm also told to say that your dreams, don't ever let your dreams die. Yeah, there's a quote, and I know I'm going to butcher it up, but Les Brown wrote, I believe it was Les Brown who wrote, the richest place in the world is a graveyard because that's where dreams die. And I'm not letting my dreams die. And I hope that all of you will take a look at where you're leaving your legacy and what your dreams are, because we get one life. It's not a dress rehearsal. We're in it right now. So make sure that you live a life of gratitude, unconditional love, and no regrets. Helen Keller wrote, the best and the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. they must be felt with the heart. Thank you all for being here in this room. I'm thrilled to be able to talk to everyone.